Let's see, you can probably then see me, it's pulling the handles. So pulling the handles is different from just extruding them. Pulling is where you actually give shape to it. So I have my water ready out here. I'm going to keep this big cardboard tube is going to be used to shape the handle, and I'm just going to be cutting these by just following those 5.5 inch lines. To tell me, they are all cut to the right length. And see, I didn't put it directly on the table because the clay can stick to the table. The canvas really helps. Plus I get my measurement points on it as well. So the small tidbits of clay that are extra, I don't need those. So I'm gonna take these, and I actually do need these for one reason, and that is to secure this tube so it doesn't roll around when I put the handles around it, because it can happen. It doesn't take too much clay, just a little bit of clay, just to avoid this tube from, rolling around when I'm actually putting the handles on it. So water is ready here, and I will start pulling the handles one by one, like watching grass grow. Oh, and I need a little bit more water because, so what I'm doing essentially is pulling the handle with which I get a tapered shape to it. This is my favorite yogurt container to use for dipping the handles, but the water level needs to be almost at the top of it for my entire handle to get wet. So I was a little low on the water level. So sometimes when this happens, it's fine. It'll make a shorter handle, and I do have some shorter mugs for which this size handle will work. So I'm not going to discard that. Of course, it wouldn't work for my bigger or regular size mugs, but I do have some smaller mugs which I made, so it would work for that. And that's the key. It's like it needs to be wet, the clay needs to be slippery, or else the clay keeps breaking, which you don't want. And for my mugs and other pieces, you must have seen that I use recycled clay. I just recycle all my clay. I don't like to just throw it in the trash. It's perfectly good clay. In fact, I find it to be better than a fresh batch of clay. So I use that for my mugs, but for my handles, I prefer using clay fresh out of the bag. And the reason is because of the actions I do to it. The whole when the clay is overworked and everything, over time you can kind of lose those fine particles. For slab building and all, it is fine, but when it comes to pulling handles, if there is even a very slight unevenness in the you know, how wet or dry, like if the top part of the handle which I'm pulling is a little drier than the bottom part, while I'm pulling, it's just gonna break while I'm, you know, shaping it. So it needs to be a very even consistency. Um, so for handles, I like to use clay right out of the bag. But for everything else, I will recycle my clay. That is when I get around to it. Most of the time, the recycle pile just keeps growing, and then I spend like a week only recycling clay and doing nothing else. So, yeah. And these handles, they'll be sitting around, and later today, I will be attaching buttons to the mugs. I have like around 50 mugs, so that's, we're talking about around 200. There are some mugs which require 5 buttons, so we are talking 200 plus buttons that need to be attached to those mugs. And after all those buttons are attached, the handles will be attached, and then we wait for it to dry. Then I fire it, and then I glaze the mugs. So if you have any requests for, I have lace mugs, I have the regular knit mug patterns, and I have some jumbo knit mug patterns as well. Of course, right now nothing is glazed, but if there is a particular color that you want, which is not available on my website right now, or is under low stock or whatever, if that's what you want, place your order soon so that I can glaze it in those colors and you don't have to wait for that long turnaround time till I get around to making more mugs. You can get your mug in this batch. Oops. Another short handle looks like. So that's what happens when I haven't wetted the clay properly when I'm pulling it. And like I said, I do have some small mugs, those small, shorter handles will work for that. And that's what I plan to use them for. As you can see, the rows of handles is, I like the look of the handles like this. They're all like, you know, sitting nice and neat. And they need to rest for at least 3 hours or so, depending on how damp or wet everything is. Today seems to be going to be a pretty nice day. And that's why Casper is going to get his grooming today. I don't know if y'all can, if anyone is online, do say hi, because I think I had another skip in the OBS software or something. It just went reconnecting and connecting again or something. So if you're online, do say hi so I know that it's working. Hey Wendy, welcome back. So I was asking you about your Navajo ply. I don't know if you were there online or I know my connection kind of went a little weird in between, so I don't know if I got disconnected. Well, you can see I'm still extruding the handles, and I was wondering what happened to your Navajo ply. Did you end up adding more twist to that first bobbin, or are you happy with the way it looks? We can talk about spinning, we can talk about whatever we want. We don't need to talk about clay. Chain plied all night. Nice. Chain plying is a nice look when I have spun, um, you know, a space dyed yarn so I can have the colors together. So Sandra says, this is great. Extrude handles, but they look stiff. Oh yeah, definitely. I'll show you a close up of what the handles look. So this is how, the handle is. Let me see if I can get it in view. Right? Just out of the extruder, plain straight. And I've seen many potters who extrude and attach, and it just doesn't give it any life at all. Um, you can, of course, just pull your handles directly from a blob of clay, but that is so much effort, and then having it all consistently the same is difficult. So all I can do is I've got the basic shape, and now I just wet the clay and taper it and put my thumb indent so the the hand fits more comfortably around it, and it becomes like that. So it's now thinner out here, broader on top, and even this way it's thicker on top here and it's thinner out here. So that makes a much comfortable hold, and that's all the effort I had to do to reshape the extruded handle. So yeah, you landed up putting too much twist. What, into the first bobbin? I think the second bobbin you were happy with, and you were going to add a little bit more twist to the first one. Did you land up adding way too much twist to it? Is that what happened? Oh, it was all one bobbin? Okay. So I thought you had shown me like the first part of it, and then in which you were not happy with the twist, and then you showed me something else which had more twist in it. So I thought they were two separate bobbins. So basically, you were adding more twist and removing twist all night long. There goes Casper. Today he's getting his hair cut. Let him bark, let him get exhausted, and when he'll be tired enough, I shall bathe him. And so you rewound the first half onto a new bobbin with no added twist, then added way too much twist to the second half. Oh, Wendy. So it all balances out, right? And honestly, I know I told you this, but and I had the same questions when I was spinning. Am I adding too much twist? Am I adding too little twist? Is this gonna work? Is this not gonna work? Blah 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 blah. The I remember asking this to Kent a lot because we used to sit and spin together. Um, and I kept asking him the same questions you're asking me now. And all he used to say is, well, knit with it and see. Oh, you had pigtails everywhere? Oh, that's not good. So then you had more twist in your singles, I guess, if you were getting pigtails. Was that the case? Your wheel is too fast for you. Maybe that's the reason why. Oh, is Vaughn watching as well? Hey Vaughn, I just saw your post on your Artful Home orders. Congratulations on that. I have a few of those orders to fulfill. Well, I need to make the mugs first. Then I can fulfill them. Pigtails in the plying. Oh my goodness, you are really going nuts on the tension. I mean, on the twist. Well, I hope you got it all sorted out eventually. Oh, good. It's all well that ends well. So, okay, I need the next board to do the last few handles. Okay, that stays there. Just gonna take some clay. Yeah, run it back through the other way to remove that extra twist. It's that's what the cool thing about making your own yarn is. Hey, if it's not right, you can fix it to some extent over and over again. So yeah, there will be a point at which there is no going back. Like if you would have put like ridiculous amount of twist in the singles, that and you would have plied it, then it would mean unplying it, and unplying a chain plied yarn is oh god, no, I don't think that's worth it. So that would be point of no return. But if your singles are fine and it's only your ply twist which needs to be adjusted, it's pretty easy to just run it through, add more twist or remove extra twist, and it'll be fine. Okay, let me extrude out this last bit of clay which is in the extruder. You throw it in the campfire at that point. Oh, come on, Wendy. You just need another craft like weaving, in which you could kind of put those over twisted crazy yarns into those, they make some very good nice textures in a weaving project. You don't have a loom yet, Wendy, do you? Can that be Charan's next fault? You'll be able to use all those cones of yarn that you have. I do the wicked laugh, convincing Wendy she needs another fiber equipment. Oh, you have a loom already? Oh, shoot. Thought I could make you buy one. Maybe you need like a tabletop loom or something, which would be easy to pull out and play with. Does that help? It's already my fault. Yep, it is. I have a project half warped on my loom for more than a year now. I just need to finish warping the whole thing, weave it off, and when I had put it on, I'd started putting it on the loom and all. I was very excited about it and everything, but now I have like no mojo for it. But because it's already half warped, I don't know if I can remove it. I could probably remove it and then just put another warp of something that I really want to do. And there is just so much of that warp on it. It's like 8 yards long. Like it'll take me a long time to even weave the whole thing. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe I should just pull it off the loom, and because I think I might have to do it again all over again anyway. I don't even remember for what particular pattern I had done it. I want to do clasp warp as well, and I want to use some art yarns in it, add some texture and some interesting stuff to it. That's what I really want to do on the loom, but like what I have my loom warped with is a very uh, traditional kind of um, you know woven pattern. It was for doing table mats, so it's like very structured and it's all with cotton and all of that. And I'm kind of like not having any love for it. Like it was supposed to be this exercise that I said, okay, if I focus and I do one entire project properly to the end, a very planned project, that would be the way to do it. Like, focus on it and have a whole plan and go through with it. I'm not that kind of person. Means I am like I do like to have planned projects and do things like that, but uh, that wasn't like I was feeling that I couldn't change things in between, or if I wanted to add some texture, I couldn't do that for that particular thing. So I'm just kind of losing my excitement for that project. That's why the rest of the warp hasn't been wound on that back beam. So half the warp is on the back beam and the other half still needs to go on. So I am currently thinking, since I do want to weave with some of my art yarns and play with that, what I should do is just remove this entire warp. I don't think it will be that hard to remove because I was doing a back to front. So currently it was just like wounding on the back beam and then it would go through the heddles. Like I was going to do that all later. So a lot of, I won't be messing up with the arrangement. Plus it had like around 7 different colors in it and I have a pattern for it. I know if I dig through my computer, I will find the whole color scheme of whatever I was planning on doing and the weave structure I was planning to do. I know it's there on my computer, but like right now, I have like no idea what it was. So I would want to remove that and just put in a plain weave pattern uh, with maybe some silk yarn or something simple, and then just play with different yarns and see what happens. Which means I'll have to take my weaving class again, and regarding blueprint classes, Wendy, I did try recording one of the classes the way you mentioned. It did work, but the problem was that it too much space. It took up like 8 gigs of memory, and it stopped recording in the last 10 minutes of the video, and I don't know why. But I think I can record that separately and just clip it to it or something like that. Yeah, well, talking about modern art weavings, didn't you just purchase an already woven thing when we were in Canada for Next City? Your plan was to purchase a picture frame loom, but someone landed up purchasing a weaving structure with it. What's a bummer? I forgot what I was talking about. Don't be judgy. Okay. What was I talking about that I forgot? I forgot what's a bummer? What are you so bummed about? What am I supposed to be bummed about? Yeah, you can totally use a handheld extruder for this. The Scott Creek people, mine is a 5-inch square extruder. So, oh yeah, extra gigabyte for the space. Yeah. I mean, if I had the space on the computer, I just don't know why it stopped. Who planned handle day and grocery day together? Wonderful, Charles. See, I'm making handles for your mug now. And I'm making 50 handles to attach to your one mug. We'll see which handle works best. So yeah. Oh, regarding the extruder, yes, what I have is Scott Creek's 5-inch wall-mounted one. They do make a handheld one as well, and since the die for the extruder is for the handles is so small, you can totally use a handheld one as well. Uh, I haven't used the handheld one, but I've seen it used for making handles. Uh, it wouldn't work too well for me because you can have only so much clay, but it's definitely worth trying out. Yeah, see, you would get kinks, that's the thing, because you cannot apply that constant pressure to remove all the clay in one smooth motion. And for handles, one of the reason why I don't use recycled clay, or I don't pull separately, is because I want a nice smooth um, shape like that, which is then easier to pull as well. If it has any kinks or anything in it, the clay will keep breaking when I do this pulling motion. So when I do this, if there are any kinks in the clay or even wet and dry spots which are not consistent, the clay will just break during this process. But I want to get that nice taper in the handle from up to down so it's comfortable to hold. So you can try. I don't know how much. I think with one squeeze of the handheld extruder, you should be at least be able to get maybe enough for one handle. And rather than I would suggest rather than holding it close to the table and extruding so that the handle comes off the table, hold it up in the air and push down, so you have gravity which kind of just helps the clay fall down smoothly rather than table creating the resistance and creating a kink in that coil. Am I making sense? And if you are looking at the cross section, this is a cross section of my handle. So use a die shape which kind of looks like this oval. And this is around, I would say, an inch and a quarter or so long, on the longest side. Okay, this is exactly what you're seeing. See, when I was showing you that, now let me show you here. I landed up adding a fold in the clay, like right here. So now when I'm pulling, it's misshaping the clay right there. That's going to be a discarded handle. Because see, it's like the more I keep pulling, it's like that unevenness keeps getting more. So you can see it's not a smooth transition. It goes in and it goes out again. I will not be able to correct that. This handle is gone. So I'll just pull it further, and now see, I just did one extra pull and see it's got that kink in it. So the kink is not good. So try suspending the extruder in the air and try to get, you won't be able to get like this whole 33-inch length from it, but at least you should be able to get one handle's worth with every squeeze, and try to do one continuous squeeze on that, and that should help for sure. At least in my head it would. So see, if I've not even wetted the clay, I'll end up doing that, but that is towards the end, so I can just knock that off and make a shorter handle for my shorter mugs, which will work just fine. Alright, that was the last of the handles. So I have plenty, 50 plus, and I have around 50 mugs. I have a few extras as well. So I can use those for those mugs. I can save the others for later. And I also have some handles from my previous extruding session. So I have plenty handles now. So I'm going to sign off now. Hope this was fun and informative. Alright, Wendy, I'm signing off too. So don't feel bad. You should red jack my live feed as long as you want. It's fun chatting, not necessarily about clay. You can talk about anything. There are no rules about this stuff, at least not right now. So I don't know, Charles, if you're still there. If you're there, bye. I will be putting buttons later today, and if the handles are ready, then I'll attach the handles today, or the handles will go on tomorrow. It depends. Alright, bye everyone. Nice chatting with you. Bye.